And I looked and I thought, what is this? We picked up the trash and there was already more trash. So I thought, what happened? You know, the monkeys grabbed the bag and opened, what happened, you know? And I got my answer immediately. We started picking up, and right, like from right behind us, there was, you know, the little houses, and at most a couple stories. So from the second floor, there was somebody throwing their trash out the window. And at first I was thinking, what are these people? Can't they, like, you know, don't they understand? You know, then I thought, yeah, what are these people? They're the Dom Basis. And their trash is not different from the Dom, and we've been so fortunate that we could even pick it up, you know. But at the end of that day, we were just feeling so blissful. And the chanting, you know, there was no need for speaking. It was only chanting, hearing and chanting. So it's explained that while sweeping the land of Braj, one simultaneously sweeps the land of one's heart. And then the purified heart will transform into a Dham, to the place, a holy place, where the holy name will be very happy to enter and engage in transcendental pastimes. So Braj Raj, the dust of Ram, the dust of the Dham, transforms the lust into love, and it transforms vanity, our our self-absorption, into humility. So I appreciated that short but very concise insight into chanting and how to increase our chanting and increase our attraction for the chanting. Recently, Radhanath Swami has been telling a story when he meets with the devotees. I've had the good fortune to meet him in some 3 or 4 different places. So he was telling the story how he was, I think it's also in his book, that he was sitting on the bank of the Ganges. And it was in the middle of the day, so he was practically speaking the only human sitting out there because of the heat. And he started noticing overhead there was a hawk circling around. And then all of a sudden that hawk just went straight down into the water. And then there was a lot of splashing going on, and then the hawk emerged and he had a fish in his mouth. Not his mouth, his claws. You know, he had the fish in the claws. And the fish was looking, you know, was still trying to get out, but the hawk had him. He was thinking about that, because there was the river, there was that fish just, you know, swimming happily in the river this way and that way. And all of a sudden, in an instant, the life was altered. So he realized that that hawk could only go so far in the water. If the fish had been a little deeper, he would not be caught by this hawk of fate. So in the same way, ourselves as devotees, if we go deeper and deeper into devotional service, deeper and deeper into our devotional understanding of practices, and deeper into chanting the holy name, then we will be protected from those hawks of illusion that are constantly coming, you know, Maya sensor hawks, and sometimes we get caught. So the key to spiritual success is going deeper and deeper. I had some notes, but I didn't have a printer because my mother's, in fact, it's so austere. My mother's is not even internet. Yeah, I had to send something like urgent. I got a message. I urgently send a document and some plan. It's going to be Radhastami, as you know, on Tuesday. And generally, I'm in New Vrindavan, and I organize the whole thing. I've been doing it since 2001. So somehow, when I made my return ticket, I didn't compute the fact that. Anyway, I did it wrong. I thought I was going to be landing in the morning of Radhastami, but I was taking a red-eye flight. But actually, I was the day after, which meant I would have been on a plane to Radhastami. And I just thought, oh my God, that's not possible. And I tried to change the ticket, and I said, $350. Oh my God, so much I paid in the first place, practically. So in the end, I found out if I changed, I could fly out of San Jose, which is near Iskcon Silicon Valley, and it would be less than half that price. So that's what I decided to do. The Krishna first I'll be with all of them, and then I was thinking some of you might go down, but of course you just had the 3-day weekend, and probably have to go back to work on Tuesday. But Radharani's appearance day, I hope that you'll get together and remember her. I only found out that you would be here, otherwise I might have prepared a different class. Anyways, I took some notes, but I was asked to send them for the Radhastami festival, but I couldn't, without the internet, I couldn't send it. So my mother lives about almost a little less than a mile from two of the icons of the civilized world, Starbucks and Whole Foods. They're both together in the same compound. I called them up and I said, do you have internet there for your customers? And they said, yes. So then I walked up there to that Whole Foods, got some water, a bottle of water. So you have to justify sitting on their table using Anyway, so Srimati Siti Thakurani, she's actually to be worshipped and honored just as much as Srimati Sachi Devi herself, meaning as the mother of the universe. And she is the eternal consort or wife of Sri Advaita Acharya. Her father's name was Sri Nrsimha Baduri. And she married Advaita Acharya in Fulia. Fulia, as you probably know, is a wonderful place where Haridas Thakur was doing his bhajan for a long time. It's also the place where His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami left his body. Yeah, much connection there. So after they got married, Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani went to Nadia to live in Shantipur. And Shantipur is also the yearly site of a great prasadam distribution that takes place right before Gurpurnima every year. Iskcon members put this on, and thousands of plates of prasadam are distributed at the Shantipur festival. So they were living there. And Sita Thakurani had this mood of Vatsalya Ras, Vatsalya praying for Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And so it was in this mood of parental affection and love that she was serving him. And she used to instruct Jagannath Mishra, actually Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, how to care for the boy. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he described the birth celebration at the house of Jagannath Mishra upon the advent of the Lord. And in giving that description of the Lord's birth celebration, he gave special attention to the position of Sita Thakurani. And it was on her husband's orders that she came to have the first darshan of the new child. First of all, there was a message to Jagannath Mishra, to Advaita Acharya, that the baby was eminently to appear. And if you remember, the Lord didn't come in the timely fashion of most children. He took his time, so like 13 months in the womb. I'm sure there's no mother here that would want to carry a child for 13 months in the womb. But Sachi Devi was in complete bliss the entire time. And when Advaita Acharya found out that the Lord was about to appear, he went and told, you know who he told? Like if you find something special out, you tell your best friend, right? You know who his best friend was? Haridas Thakur. And together they celebrated. They went to the Ganges and dove deeply. They swam, they got out, they rolled in the dust, they chanted and they chanted. Then they came back and he told his wife, yes, you should go. You should go and see this child. So this new child was described by Kaviraj Goswami as a jewel of jewels. So she brought some gifts to offer to him and to offer to the parents. And there was quite a few gifts actually that she tried to list them though. So she brought different kinds of golden ornaments, including bangles for the hands and the arms, for the waist. And that included tiger nails that were set in gold, and lace and silk waist belts, and ornaments also for the legs. And she brought pitted silken saris for the bride's mother, and many silver and gold coins to be presented to the child. I think that is maybe still a custom that's present in India. I remember going to one person's ceremony of the child, and people, I mean, even, this was in the 70s, but even then they would somehow find gold coins to present to the new child. So she was riding in a palanquin covered with cloth, accompanied by maidservants, and she had a basket. In addition to these other gifts, she had a basket with different auspicious type of articles, such as fresh grass, paddy used from the rice, gorachana, turmeric, kumkum, and sandalwood. Actually, these all seem like kind of simple things from the land, but imagine, maybe we could get some fresh grass, but everything else would have to be imported. But these things were readily available at the time. Now sandalwood has become incredibly expensive. In fact, it's so rare, it's so valuable that the sandalwood trees, they're protected by the government. In Ujjain, at Sandipani Mani's school, where Krishna and Balaram went to school, I visited there a few years ago. And very sweet place, very, not at all intimidating, just really sweet little garden complex, little buildings. There was one tree there, and by the tree stood a fellow with a rifle. Finally, and everything else was just so sweet, I said, why is that guy there with a gun, by that? And he goes, that is a sandalwood tree. And they explained that formerly there was a tree that had been there from the time of Krishna and Balaram. And dacoits came in at night and chopped it up and took it away. So this tree was the replacement, and the government was providing this armed soldier to protect the tree because they're so valuable now. But she was just bringing sandalwood in the basket. So when she came to the house, the Sachi Devi, and she had these wonderful gifts and eatables and dresses, and she was completely astonished when she saw the newborn child, and she could understand except for the color. He was Krishna. Although Krishna was blackish and Gauranga was golden, it was Krishna. And she understood this. And she saw the transcendental bodily effulgence of the child, and it was explained that his limbs and his arms and his legs were nicely constructed. That was the word that was used to describe nicely constructed limbs. And his body was filled with auspicious signs. And his form was like golden. So Sita Thakurani was very pleased, and because of her maternal affection, she just felt like her heart was melting. So I was thinking about this, How many of you have ever had this experience of feeling like, such an overwhelming experience that you've actually felt as if your heart was melting? Maybe some, like mothers on the birth, especially on the birth of your first child, there may be some overwhelming emotion, maybe for the men also. But it's not really something that always happens very much, if at all. So just, imagine the exalted position of Sita Thakurani, who upon just glancing at this beautiful form of the Lord could recognize who he was and experience this melting heart. Then she honored the mother Sachi Devi, because what type of person to have such a child? So we all honor and respect. And you'll remember at one point in the middle of the night, one time, Advaitacharya came unannounced. And he just walked right into the house of Sachi and Jagannath Mishra. And Sachi Devi was sitting there, and it was described that there was a glow about her womb. She was sitting in a room, and nowadays, we have our electrical lights, and in those days they just had some little lamps. So the room would be mostly a little dark and not so brightly lit. But around the womb of Sachi, it was glowing. He came in and he made his obeisances to her. And she became flustered. What are you doing? Because he was the elder venerable Acharya. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. And he got up and he circumambulated her, which further caused further consternation. And then he just said, "You will understand someday," and left. So then, now here is the wife of Advaitacharya, who is beloved and revered by Sachi and her husband Jagannath Mishra. It means that they see them with great awe and reverence, great respect. And Sita Devi is worshipping Sachi. So from that point on, and Jagannath Mishra was so happy. He was so happy with, that Sita had come to honor this child. And Sita was so happy to be there and behold such a glorious sight. And then her mind, when you're happy, naturally your mind is peaceful. And then she returned home to Shantipur in this wonderful mood. And from that day on, she would often come to Mayapur in order to teach Sachimata how to care for the new baby. Give some mothering lessons. Nowadays, you have to go to some institute to learn that. They call it parenting, so you have to take parenting classes. So she was getting parenting classes from Sita Thakurani. So she gave many instructions, and then she would give some personal help to the child, maybe pick it up, how you pick a baby up, and then she would return to Shantipur. And when it was time for the birthday ceremony of the child, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi let the worshipful Sita Thakurani have the first opportunity of dressing in his new clothes. So Advaitacharya, he also had a home in Navadvip. And in Navadvip, he would come from time to time discussing Krishna Katha and interacting with the devotees headed by Srivas. We read how not only would the oldest son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi go, but then later on Gauranga himself would go and peeking in what's going on in here. Sometimes Sachi would send him, "Go get your brother, it's time for lunch." And he'd go, and then he'd be captivated, and he'd forget, "Oh, I have to get my brother, come on, Mom wants you." But after his appearance, and they were there, they would discuss Krishna Katha, and the devotees were headed by Srivas. And so they would be diving and surfing in the waves of joy of Krishna Katha, going deeper and deeper, until they would go until the break of dawn. So after Gaurasuda's appearance, all the devotees prayed together with Advaita and Sita that the child might live a long time in Mayapur and have good fortune. Sita Thakurani and Sachi Devi, they were of one mind that the baby Nimai was their life and soul. That there was no conflict, there was no second opinion. They were just, this is our life and soul. And every day Sita Thakurani was going to the house of Sachi to help her with the care and nurturing of the boy. And this would fill the heart of Jagannath Mishra with such pleasure, and the minds of the devotees would be very pleased to see these interactions. So then, after some time, Vishwarup, the elder boy of Jagannath Mishra, the elder brother of Nimai, he suddenly took sannyas. And that was a great shock to his mother. And she was so devastated. It was described, she fell on the ground, and it was just as if she was unconscious, but it was like death. And Sita Thakurani then came and consoled Jagannath Mishra and Sita Thakurani was consoling Sachi and Jagannath Mishra. Srivas Pandit's wife, Malini, was also very affectionate towards the child, and she was also having the same mind as Sita and Sachi Devi, that this child is the life and soul of our heart. So, after he took sannyas, Mahaprabhu went to live in Jagannath Puri, and during that time, Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani used to go, and they would visit him each year, bringing their son Achyutananda with them. And on one occasion, Sita prepared some of the Lord's favorite preparations and invited him to their home to take lunch. And to increase her ecstasy, the Lord, who was always absorbed in Krishna's name, honored their invitation, and he took lunch in the home of Advaita and Sita, who was serving him with her own hands. Sita Thakurani was always overwhelmed with his Vatsalya prem, treating him just as if he were her own son. She had actually 3 sons. In addition to Achyutananda, she had 2 other sons. And the other boys, Krishna Mishra and Gopala Mishra. But of the 3 sons, Achyutananda was the more like-minded with Advaita Acharya. And according to the Bhakti Ratnakara, Sri Sita Thakurani's father was Sri Nrsimha Bhaduri, and she had a sister named Shri. So according to the Gaura-Govardhandisha Dipika, Sita was Yogamaya, and her sister Shri was the Prakasha, or the manifestation of Yogamaya. But whatever these particular identities may or may not be, she was an unalloyed lover of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So today is her appearance day, so we can honor her by remembering her incredible devotion and her loving kindness to the Lord and her eternal servant, her eternal role as Mother of the Universe. So, what is the time of the time frame?
7:30.
Okay, so I think we can do that easy. So as mentioned before, I wanted to take some time to share with you some of the beautiful words. And I will read the words because of Prabhupada's words, and I feel no need to just interpret them or, alter their saying. And I think that you'll appreciate, I hope you will appreciate hearing from him describing the beginning of the preaching in America. This first letter was on August 21st, 1966. So he's writing, and he starts to describe, he said, he's explaining that his visa will be finished in the middle of September. So he's hoping that it will be extended because he goes, there's very good preaching. If the government allows, I will try to extend. Very good preaching is going on here. American boys are very beautifully chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's all written out like that. They are chanting loudly. They are eagerly hearing Gita and Bhagavad Siddhanta. They are also practicing sadachara, leaving all good habits. Also, they are taking Mahaprabhu's Mahaprasad. By doing this, their lives are becoming successful. When they do kirtan, dancing with their arms upraised, I remember Srila Bhaktivinoda's prediction and become so pleased. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote very hopefully, when will that day come when white people, that is European and Americans, join with all others and loudly sing Mahaprabhu's kirtan? So I can see that day has come. So he says, I'm trying my utmost for this. And then the next part of the letter, he goes into the practical side of the devotional paradigm, and he's asking if he can make some purchases and send them to America. So I will just give a few of them. He asked for one pair of metal Radha Krishna deities. He put arm's length, 16 inches. And he asked for very beautiful dresses, ornaments, and crowns. 3 changes. 10 pairs of good quality kartals from Navadvip. 3 good mridangas. 1 tambura. 1 good quality harmonium. 50 harinam malas, niktis, and bead bags. 1 book of Satkriya Siddhardika by Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So already, at this point they had just got 26 2nd Avenue. So after that year of intense struggle without a permanent zip code or address, there was starting to be, as you can say, a little light on the horizon. And so he's starting to think in terms now of the concrete form of the mission, and so he's made these requests. Then of the same year, about a month later, September 28th, he writes, at his first sight of me, Srila Prabhupada, now he's speaking about his Guru Maharaj, at the first sight of me, Srila Prabhupada also saw me with such love. It was in my very first darshan of Srila Prabhupada that I learned how to love. And this is just an amazing statement. What a very personal, deep insight. It was at my very first darshan of Srila Prabhupada that I learned how to love. And in hearing the stories from many of us, how we came to Krishna consciousness, that was the pivotal factor. That in our Srila Prabhupada, we felt a love that had not been like anything we ever experienced in our entire life, not even from our mother and father. So he's describing the same thing himself. And then he continues, it is his boundless mercy that he's engaged an unworthy person like me in fulfilling some of his dreams. And we can say the same thing. That we are here in our own way trying to do some service and fulfill some of the dreams of Srila Prabhupada. And what are his dreams? That we can continue spreading this Krishna consciousness mission and introduce people to the glories of Krishna consciousness and thus saving them from the corrupt material energy. So he said it is his boundless mercy that he has engaged an unworthy person like me in fulfilling some of his desires. It is his causeless mercy to engage me in preaching the message of Sri Raghunath Das. So then he's come to know that there's some of the visa by this point, he could, if the government didn't give him the visa extension, he would have to return to India. And the budding devotees, they didn't want that to happen, so they were getting the money together, about $500, to protest and get his visa extended. Then Prabhupada wrote